Before the coming of the Europeans to Africa, especially to what we know today as Nigeria, our people have lived here in their glamour. They have their systems of government, they have their cultures, they celebrated their festivals without hindrance. But then, towards the 19th century, the Europeans came, especially in 1851, where they bombarded and took over Lagos. And from there, when they had their foothold, they began to make inroads into the northern parts, and before a while, they took over every part of the country. They established colonialism, but after a while, there emerged great figures like the one we have here in Makurdi, whose statue has been erected at the Jes Taka Foundation that has been named in his honor. Jes Taka joined forces with the likes of Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe. They led the agitations for our independence. We are going to meet people who knew what happened. My first point of call is to the house of Senator Swemuchia. He was not only a senator in the Second Republic, but before then, a commissioner in Benue Plateau State when it was first created in 1967. And he was also made a commissioner in Benue State under the military administration of Abdullahi Shelen in 1976.
It has not been easy. When we got independence, the objective, the aims, were expressed in the first stanza of the then national anthem. Nigeria, we heard our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That was the basis for which we sought independence. In brotherhood we stand. But since then, can we honestly say we have achieved that objective?
I also visited Professor Kwamu J.T. Oka, who was a close associate of the first civilian governor of Benue State, Mr. Aperiku, and also served as a commissioner in his administration.
Those who were our leaders then fought for our independence because it is more honorable to be free than to be under another nation elsewhere. That's why they wanted us to be independent. And so we are. And all that is expected that we should develop and do things better for this country.
Nigeria got independence in 1960 and got a republican statute in 1963. The major problem then was the control of the police, the revenue allocation, and the problem of minority. I wouldn't want to go into detail. The issue of minority has been a problem. You know, the major tribes in Nigeria are the Hausas, the Igbos, and Yorubas. Every other tribes in the country fall in within. The Midwest were clamoring for a region. The Middle Belt also wanted a region. That was the major problem. To a certain extent, with the London Conference, an attempt was made to resolve this problem, but it still lingers till today. You remember that the independence was more or less a political independence. The economy of Nigeria was still in the hands of the Europeans, and that's what they call multinational corporation. You know, the invisible hands of the European controlling the Nigerian economy. That implies that the economy was in the hand of the Europeans.
After independence, not just a few years after, about 6 years after, we fought a civil war. up to 1970, the Civil War came to an end. We have been struggling for the unity of the country. At that time, there were only 4 regions that made up the country: Northern Nigeria, Western Nigeria, Eastern Nigeria, and Eastern region, and the Midwestern region. There were 4 regions. Now, we have 36 states, and we are still struggling for the unity of the country. It would appear to me that at the time we had 4 regions, the country was even more united, because these were matured, got independence in the hands of mature people, people who fought for independence, who knew the importance of independence, how they struggled for it and how they got it. So with all their differences, they easily found a way of coming together, as expressed in the national anthem. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand.
When the British handed independence to Nigeria, it was a parliamentary system of government. We had the years from 1960 to 63, where we had Nigeria became a republic in 1963. Then, from 1963 to 66, we had several issues, and then the military struck. The first coup in Nigeria took place on the 15th of January 1966. It was led by Major Kaduna Nzegu. It didn't take long before another coup happened in July, and that was seen as a counter coup, as shared by the views of most of people who were spoken to. So from then, the military began to be involved in the governance of the country. How has the military handled the fortunes of this nation?
The regional military governments are directly responsible to the head of the federal military government and the supreme commander of the armed forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Public cooperation and other separate...
Following decisions come into immediate effect. The interim national government is hereby dissolved. The national and state assemblies are also dissolved. The state executive councils are dissolved. The brigade commanders are to take over from the governors in their states until administrators are appointed.
Gentlemen of the press, the Nigerian armed forces could not stand idly by while this country was drifting towards a dangerous state of political and economic collapse through the continued ineptitude and insensitiveness of a political leadership who were apparently unwilling to change.
Well, it is not expected that the military should get direct involvement in running a nation. But when things went wrong, the military decided to step in to correct the ills. At the time the military took over in Nigeria, quite a number of people celebrated because of what was not being done proper by the government then.
You cannot offer effectively what you are not prepared for. The military came in 1966, I think January 15, 1966. Very much unprepared to give the country leadership, political leadership. So they started messing up. And that's why the country had to fight a civil war. They came in divided, even among themselves. Not that they were united as to what they wanted to do for Nigeria. They came in divided. And that resulted to a civil war for 30 months. After the civil war, The military, after creating more states in the country, we're heading those states. But I can quite honestly say that maybe only a few of them gave good leadership to their states.
The military were accused of a lot of evil, but through hindsight, we can say they treated one of the major problems that the agitators were clamoring for, which was the issue of creation of states. Beginning in 1967, when the administration of Yakubu Gowon created 12 states, which were Northwestern, Kano, North Central, Northeastern, Kwara, Western, Midwest, East Central, Southeastern, Lagos, and Rivers State. These were the first states that were created in Nigeria. For the people that today are in Benue State, it was a dream come true because over the years, that appeared to be the major concern of one of the founding fathers, J.S. Taka. He had yearned for a middle belt state. It was not actualized before independence, but in 1976, Benue State was created out of Benue Plateau, which was one of the first states. And since the creation of Benue State, since it was under a military administration, series of military men were appointed to the state where Abdullahi Shelen, Bayo Lawal, Atongpera, Yohana Madaki, Jonah Jang, Ishaya Bakut, Idris Garba, Fidelis Maka, Joshua Obadame, Amino Isa Kontagora, and Dominic Onea, who handed over to George Akume in 1999.
When we were agitating for creation of a middle belt region out of the north, we saw it that north was very large and needed to be divided. And also, we who are in the middle belt are more of minority tribes here. We would prefer to have our own region. However, things changed, and we now have many or several states in the middle belt, more than what we were agitating for. Means that we should be able to develop our states better than what we were agitating for.
We're talking of the middle belt region, the middle belt region that we were fighting for. What was its composition? Then, what is now Kwara, Kogi, Naja, Nasarawa, Benue, and Taraba. These were the areas, Plateau was part of it, even part of Bauchi, yes. So these were the areas that we refer to the middle belt, and they were fighting for their own region.
Let me go back to history. The British amalgamation in 1914 even created this a problem because the North, South, and East were amalgamated to become one. But the major problem created then was that the Northerners were created larger than the two sides, that's East and West. And this problem generated a lot of issues in the country. You discover that the North wanted to control the economy, the political setup of the country, while the South want to control the economy of the country. They not want to control the political because they are bigger in size. And this size is still creating problems today in the country. Up to today, if you look at from 1960 today till today, the people that ruled in the North are greater in number than those in other regions, East and West. Of course, I agree with you that more regions have been created.
Today, here at the popular Athletic Stadium in Makurdi, a statue has been erected in honor of the first civilian governor of Benue State. Athletic was the governor of Benue State from 1979 to 83. Actually, he took his oath of office on the 1st of October 1979. To help us understand some of the issues, we have to visit one of those who work closely with him, one of his commissioners, who will give us insight into some of the things this great leader did.
When we had the opportunity to govern ourselves, at that time we had both Igala, Idoma and Tiv majority tribes in Benue. The Igalas and the Idomas decided that the Tiv people should produce the first governor of this state. So some Tiv who thought that they could govern Benue came forward, including Aperaku. And we look at the caliber of people that were contesting, and we saw that Aperaku had the qualities to do us proud. To develop Benue, as I have said, Benue should be shoulder to shoulder with other states in this country. We should not lag behind. And that is, we look at this thing in this area, in this area, in that area, and we did what would bring us up. That was the situation. And all that we did was because of the enthusiasm with which we came into government.
This is not for me to feel, because I belong to the church and the hierarchy of the church. So the church does not want me to feel. The church only wants me to stand with what the church stands for, that a Catholic priest should not be involved in partisan politics. And this is by canon law. We can't change anything about it. So any priest who is going into partisan politics is first and foremost expected to leave the Catholic priesthood. Not to leave the Catholic Church, but to leave the Catholic priesthood. We encourage good Catholics to become politicians, partisan politicians, get into the system and change the system. But when you become a priest, you have made a fundamental option to walk within the sacred of sacreds. And so you're not expected to, I mean, this is very practical. If I'm a priest and I belong to CNC, I'm going to use the word political parties, I don't want to use anything new, and you belong to AMPP, and I say the Lord be with you, will you respond? You will not respond. You think I'm saying the Lord be with you to my CNC members. And so you're going to have a split of the shepherd, the sheep that you're being called and entrusted with. So I think that the law remains the same, but like you said from hindsight, I think that the church actually was proud of the achievements of this Reverend Father, and that's when he became governor for a year and 9 months. If today's students have a university, Benue has a university, the credit goes to him. So, but we think that is because he was a good Catholic to the point of being a priest that he was able to do all of this. Not because he was a priest, but the fact that he was first and foremost a good Catholic. And so we challenge many good Catholics to come out and to contest elections, win the elections, and transform, wherever they are called to serve.
At the time of Aku, the economy of the state was much healthier than what followed thereafter. At the time of Dasu, I know the economy was also a bit heavier. Then, after him, you had Akume, among the civilian government. The economy wasn't as healthy as it was previously. And the subsequent governors, the economy has not been as healthy as it was before. So their performances cannot be the same, cannot be fairly compared with the situation of Aku and the situation of Adasu. The others came in when things started going zigzag. And the Naira also lost so much of its value.
My number one expectations from the leaders of Nigeria is for them to look into the matter, that the issue of rape that is happening in our country. They should make laws to stop the issue of rape and to set aside intensive punishment for the offenders. Also, I want the government to look into the issue of flood that is going on in the urban and rural cities or little towns in our country, and they should put and set laws that will be able to reduce the rates in which flood happens during the rainy season, or better still, stop it.
I would like the government to introduce pipeline and railway transportation of crude oil so that the high rate of tankers explosion around the country may be reduced. Then also, I would like the government to reduce the tariff on electrical bills so that the masses will receive lights at cheaper rates, and also to facilitate entrepreneurship.
Nigerians voted the rulers because we trusted them. So I want the Nigerian rulers to be happy and make their people too happy. I expect the leaders to give free education to the poor, free jobs to the youth.
We are 60 today. We've seen every challenge. We've gone through a lot. We've experienced a lot. But what do we think should be the focus of our nation in the next 60 years?